Hi, it's Rupert Hine here from Action Coach Nick Kinross, and I'm joined today by Nick Thomas from Immersive Engineering. Hi, Nick.
Hey, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. So, thank you very much for joining us. So, Immersive Engineering, tell us what is it you do?
Okay, immersive engineering, it does exactly what it says on the tin. We're looking to bring immersive technology to the engineering and manufacturing sector. So that's everything from big data visualization all the way down to virtual and augmented reality solutions.
Fantastic. So that's for the layman like me. That's about giving people the technology that helps them see stuff that isn't real, so they can make it real.
Well, no, a lot of that stuff is real. Think an offshore vessel. You've got 3D models of it, but you can't get teams out to it, or you want to do disaster simulation or emergency preparedness drills for a location where most of the team can't get to. You can scan it, get the 3D models, throw them into, our software platform builder, and then you can just drop yourself in and explore it. So a lot of the time it is data that does exist. It's just you can access it virtually instead of actually going to the place. Um,
Fantastic. So how did you get to the point of establishing immersive engineering?
a lot of failure. So my trajectory of coming into startups is, or at least in software, was quite different to most software companies. I started off as an end user. I spent most of my career in engineering and manufacturing roles. I started working as a design engineer. I was then a quality engineer at Toyota on one of their production lines. I then joined GE Aviation and specialized in jet engine manufacture. GE then moved me over to their oil and gas division to do what I did with aviation in there. In oil and gas, I was put in technology development roles where I was effectively given the task of finding aspects of the product lifecycle that were broken and finding technology solutions to those different pieces. And one of the themes that I was working on was digital technology, and one of the pieces of that pie was visualization. So being able to see subsea Christmas trees in VR so you can spot engineering defects, or being able to design a new factory virtually so that when you design it in real life, you know the forklift's going to fit under the door, or the crane's going to be high enough to lift the object. All things that I've seen not happen. And just through systematic failure with every single type of software solution out there, um, I came to the conclusion that there wasn't a good solution that was secure enough, um, or cost effective enough, or just easy enough to use. Most companies can't go and hire five software developers, or game developers to then build solutions like this. So I then went to work at a VR software company for a little while, and I got to speak to all of their customers, and I figured out that all of them had failed for exactly the same reasons I had failed. And some of the pieces started to come together, and I realized that there was a real need for a solution that was intuitive, that was easy, that had no learning curve at all. To just import your 3D models and go. So, and immersive engineering was born, and we've been building our software platform builder for the last 8 months. Um, yeah.
Fantastic. So the the difference in what you do over everyone else is that you make it really
I
easy.
we fundamentally understand who the end user truly is, simply because I was in that role for 5.5 years. Um, and we've just built a platform that is we've taken out 90% of the functionality that gets used of a lot of software platforms, that gets used 0% of the time, and just adds complexity to the whole thing and cost. And we've just optimized that 10% that is needed to be really easily accessible, really intuitive, and just optimally laid out.
So so how have you gone about doing that when presumably you're using people who are really good, enthusiastic coders and engineers who love the detail that has built the 90% that you're now pulling out in other places.
It's been an idea that's kind of been in the back of my mind for a long time, and it's always been, oh, that's a cool feature. But all of the things I had to do to get there was just painful. I had to go and spend 4 days away from my day job to get trained on a software to then bring in all my 3D data. And then while I was away for 4 days, I had, I didn't do any of my day job for that week. And then when I came back, there was backlog. And then, I had to spend a week and a half catching up on the backlog plus everything that was accumulating in real time. And then it was a month before I got back to the software that I had been trained on, and I couldn't remember how to use any of it. And so a lot of it was just going through myself being, having to do design reviews with engineering teams and having to go and scan factories and try to figure out how to configure them, um, and lay them out. So a lot of it was through personal trial and error, and the rest of it was very much through that's a cool feature. I'm going to take that idea. And, another customer comes, walks up and said, hey, I'd like to be able to do this one thing. Can we figure it out? And if there's enough interest and noise around it, then we put that in as well.
Fantastic. So, what would you say has been the biggest challenge you've had in taking that
Ah,
idea through into making it into a business?
the biggest challenge has been the scale. And well, a lot of those will be my fault, right? We chose not to go for investment because we really, really didn't need to. It would have been absolutely beneficial on so many levels, but we didn't existentially need it. Um, there was enough, there was enough work coming through, there was enough interest coming through that we decided to do everything in-house and build everything in-house and build everything internally, and test it with some of um, our 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 key customers. But the biggest challenge has probably been my lack of experience around the whole ecosystem of business or technology administration, everything from marketing to lead generation, the whole commercial lead funnel or sales funnel, and kind of bringing that through to an actual, kind of paying customer. And having just the time to be all hats all the time, kind of everything from VAT returns to corporation tax filings and P&L statements through to, coding in 3 or 4 different programming languages and then VR software, and then trying to figure out, you know, um, LinkedIn Sales Navigator campaigns and what's the right copy for outreach and how's that going to convert, and just trying to do everything has absolutely been the biggest challenge, and possibly the big limiting factor has been my lack of experience.
So, what have you found has been the most powerful technique that you've learned along that journey to help you with that?
Oh, there's a couple of things. There's definitely hyper focus has been helpful. Just being able to just hyper focus on specific tasks and get them done. But yeah, I'll give you another example. So I've got another startup called Scott AI, which I've co-founded with an amazing entrepreneur as well. And we now have a team of full-time developers. And that journey, even though that company is half the age, less than half the age of immersive engineering, it's like a little family. You know, in my co-founder, he handles all of the commercial stuff, and he handles all of the things that I don't do well, and I kind of take on the CTO role, and I work with the development team, and it's amazing. It's so exciting. It's just the progress is so much faster than just the few of us at immersive engineering who are getting on with it. So it's having a really well knit and cohesive team in place at one company, and then going the journey alone at another company has been a really stark contrast in terms of just ease and progress and acceleration.
So, what have you done to help build that team?
Um, at Scott AI, we landed our first client in the first 4 weeks. Um, and then we hired our first developer off the back of a MVP. Um, and then we landed our second client, we hired our second developer, and then we just kept growing as organically as we could afford to. And because there's now a team of 4 people who are able to handle the code base. We've got 5 or 6 different products now as well that we're working on. Some of them are incredibly exciting. Um, and we're my co-founder and I were able to share the load in terms of, and even just the bad days that everyone goes through, just able to pick up the phone and say, oh, absolutely useless today. Just nonstop calls, but haven't found a way to get anything done. And just having someone to work with and balance off has been so much more, just so much more fun and enjoyable. And at Immersive, it's, I'm the solo founder there, so I have to wear all the hats all the time, and we kind of internalize everything, the good and the bad. So it's
So what's next?
uh, so at Immersive Engineering, we're going to finish Builder, our visualization platform. That's in the late stages of its first commercialized version of development, and hopefully by the end of this month we'll be able to start properly taking it to market, properly deploying it as commercial software and just expanding on that, just kind of getting user feedback, getting good customer feedback, and optimizing the tool, making it better, faster, easier, cheaper, more efficient, more effective. um, and with Scott AI, it's what's next is definitely going through our years-long roadmap of development and kind of really leaning into some of the aspects of our main platform. Like the on-prem AI solution that runs fully offline, and the edge compute stuff, and some of the work we're doing with deep tech reports as well. So just kind of just pushing on and just expanding on what we've already built, really.
Fantastic. So so what would you say is the what's the advice you would give an 18-year-old Nick starting out again?
Spend more time programming. um, Work back. So I think I always knew that I wanted to start something on my own. Um, and the advice I wish I could give myself was, hey, if you're 18 now and you want to start when you're 30 or 35 or 40, work backwards and figure out what you need to know by then to hit the ground running. Don't start technically competent at 30, but having no other knowledge or expertise whatsoever. I think I would have probably been better off if I had spent time in, if I'd spread my time across instead of just technology development, if I'd spread it in a little bit of software, a little bit of sales, and commercialization. I think that would have done me a world of good. The one advice I would give anyone, having had a few things, kind of not work out, is it's always easier having a really good team with you to go along the journey with you until it's not. Um, which is to say, if your co-founders are amazing and the team you have in place are fantastic and everything's working, it's an incredible experience. It's an incredibly fulfilling experience. But if any of those pieces don't fit, it's a really horrible place to be. If when I started Immersive, I had a couple of people who started with me, and they just didn't want to do it a few months in, and the stress it put on the company, the stress it put on me personally, and having dabbled with co-founders at Immersive or commercial directors or anyone else. If there are red flags early on, they will only get worse especially with the founding team. So be very, very, very careful who you found with. You could get really lucky, like I did with Scott AI, or you could get really unlucky, like I did with immersive engineering and a couple of other ventures that I tried and very quickly exited um, as well. So, um,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so often that yeah, if you focus on the culture, you focus on that fit, you can usually build the skills around it. But if you get the fit wrong,
absolutely, absolutely. You could have the best tech, and if the team's not, not meshing, it's gonna die. And you need co-founders who are going to match your energy and match your, kind of just your drive and just what as intense about it and as driven and as invested in it to make it successful for it to really work. Um,
that's it's been a fascinating conversation. So it started at the techie end and ended up
yeah,
talking about my favorite subject,
cautionary tales. Yeah,
thought about culture, and
yeah.
it's well, you're just at the point of really taking that commercial product to market. So wish you all the very best.
Thank you
Um,
very much. Yeah.
it's for those of us who are less techy, having somebody else who's stripped it all back, so it's actually easy to work. Sounds absolutely phenomenal.
Again, I wasn't technical until I had to be technical because, like a technical co-founder quit and the contract came in. And then what do? You learn how to you learn to do everything that they could do as quickly as you can. So, again, it's some skills you have to pick up just to survive.
No, well, thank you very much for your time today, and
Thanks very much.
yeah, look forward to watching Immersive and Scott AI power to success in the future.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this was really nice.